This is definitely one of the coolest AI projects I've seen in a while. And by the way, this video isn't sponsored at all, even so because it's open source, you don't have to pay for anything here. But I really think this is a very helpful project, both for Vibe coders and for agentic coders. It is named Vibe Kanban, but I honestly think that it's very useful for developers, even in the sense of scoping down specific features or fixes of a given project. You'll see that in just a bit. I'm getting ahead of myself here, but let me first make my screen a bit bigger so that you guys can follow along. Now open up my terminal, and all you'll want to place in is npx vibe-kanban. As soon as you fill that in, an instance of Vibe Kanban should start. I already have a project running, LLM's project. If you click on that project, you are now able to create a lot of different tasks. And I'll show you the step-by-step because I really didn't find a specific video that shows all the features that this project has. And I believe there's a lot of features here that I didn't know of before, and I'll certainly start using it in my own projects. I've even already started doing so. As soon as you spin up a new project, and you can do so by clicking on Create Project, then either selecting a project from GitHub or just start a project from blank, you'll be taken to an interface very similar to this one. In here, you'll want to go up here to this engine, and here where it says Git repository path, just find the path of your project from your own computer. Oh, and by the way, this project works locally. So is Vibe Kanban secure? Yes, Vibe Kanban runs locally on your machine and doesn't send your code to external servers. It's also open source with over 5,000 stars, so I think we can trust it. Now back to editing the project. After you selected the path, just fill in the project name. Then for the setup script, if you imported this from GitHub and you already don't have the project in your computer, you'll likely need to either use npm install yarn or whatever you're using. And in my case, I have everything already here locally, so it really doesn't have to install all those packages. The only thing I have to instruct it is the dev server script. So yarn dev, and also I need to specify the .env so that it copies that .env while running this inside of its own instance. Now, a reason why it works like this is because after you have a bunch of different tasks, if you have them executing all at the same time, so different branches are created for each one of those features so that you can further on merge those changes. And if there are any conflicts, you can also ask it to review those conflicts and fix them to only then move the task forward. Okay, so after you're done with the settings, just hit Save Changes, and now you should be able to add a new task. What I'm working on is the airank.dev. I'll add a button here that redirects us over to the tools page. So all I have to type in here is Add Tools button to the navbar. As for the description, something similar, maybe a bit more descriptive. All I said is add a tool button to the navbar similar to the other options. Now you can add an image to be more specific of where you want that to be placed, and you can use a template. The way these templates work is very simple. As soon as you click on it, all the data from the title and description are replaced. So whatever I typed previously was just erased. Let me fill that in again. Okay, so down here where it says Quick Start, you can select which agent to use. And this is phenomenal. I mean, you can use Claude Code, you can use Codex, whatever you're used to, even Cursor, everything it should identify and just use it in here. So let me just go with Claude Code. The branch it'll use is the main branch. Now I can just hit Create Task or Create and Start. If you just hit Create Task, then you'll have to come over to the task. So if this is closed, just click to open up that task, click on Attempts, and then start an attempt of executing that specific task. It'll start running here on the right, and you'll have access to a similar interface as from Cursor, for example. While that's being generated, and I think it's already done, okay, now in review, you get that little sound. I don't know if my desktop sound is enabled, but this project was built, half of it in Rust, and it's really fast. Usually these tools that intercept between an AI agent takes a longer time, but this one, it's really fast. It's nearly the same time as Claude Code. And now, as soon as you click on this eye up here, you should have access to the dev server. Clicking this will have an instance of your app run all in here. Now it's saying that it has some errors, but that's probably because it identified this installing TypeScript as it was not found, but whatever. Just wait for a bit and it should show up just fine. If you want to check the dev server logs, just click to show in here. Let's hide that for now. If you click on tools, you'll be redirected to the tools. So that was implemented successfully. A pretty basic thing, but yeah, that's basically Claude Code working. Now, to check what changed inside of the code, you can't really open up GitHub Desktop or open up your IDE and check that. Even so, because if you head over to that branch that was just created, so add a tools, you'll get this error right here since it's being used. But if you head up here, you'll see that exact difference. And now you can click on Create PR. The title for the PR will be generated as well as the description. Just click Create PR. That will be executed and you will be automatically taken to the GitHub page where you can click to merge pull request. Now, there's another feature that I feel like it's a bit underestimated since I haven't seen a lot of people talking about it, and it should get like more attention based on how it works, which is this one right here. If you click on this button down here, now you can select a specific part of your website. So let's click on this compare button. This will then inform the coding agent about which component you want to alter. So instead of me always specifying the compare button inside of the nav bar of the main page or something like that, I can just click on that element and all the context of what it is, where it's at, will be sent over to the LLM, allowing me to make changes like this. Make this button have the primary color. So I just said this button, and in any other situation, it wouldn't understand what button you're talking about and would either ask you which button it is or would try to change a button that really wasn't the one that you wanted it. But now the DOM was sent up here, so it should have the right context to understand which is the button we want to be changed. But to have access to the precise component selection feature, you'll have to install Vibe Kanban Web Companion inside of your project. And then you'll have to add that inside of your project. So if it's Next.js, like in my case, you can just import it just like I'm doing right here. So in my case, I placed it inside of the layout.tsx. I think it should work fine inside of the page.tsx as well. Now, while using this, my immediate thought was, okay, so now I can create different tasks and I can see the progression of all those tasks. But every time I'll have to go up here, specify a title, so create blah, blah. It not necessarily you need to add a description, just if you want to be more descriptive about tasks that you need. But to make it the most brain dead way possible, I created this Vibe Kanban /API markdown file that specifies all of the endpoint from Vibe Kanban and allows Claude Code to manage our tasks for us. So here's a really rough example. I have Vibe Kanban on the left while I have Claude Code on the right. And here I'm just asking it to add the byword inside of the readme.markdown file, just to show that this Vibe Kanban API Markdown can have access to our Vibe Kanban instance. Initially, it's trying to access an old port, but as soon as it understands what is the actual port of the app, then it adds that task successfully. Now, obviously, this is the dumbest use case. Let me actually set up a better prompt that will actually create useful tasks for a feature inside of my app. Okay, so what I added here was look inside of the single page for tools, which is this page right here. I gave it an example of that page since my Claude Code instance here, my assistant that'll help me design the actual tasks, will look inside of the components since it has access to these files, and then help me create useful tasks that improves the design of the page. I added, remember to always add that it should maintain the design pattern from the app, correct colors, adjust structure, also improve hierarchy. These are some types of tasks that needs to be created. Let me hit enter and let's see it building all of our tasks. So it's already looking inside of the page to check what can be improved. Just in case you want to have access to this Vibe Kanban API markdown file as well, I've placed a link for it down below in the description of the video, obviously for free. And by the way, I don't think I'd use Claude Sonnet 4.5 to do exactly this. Maybe I would consider using a GPT model that I think like plans better. It just looks inside of your project and creates tasks overall better. Okay, yeah, we have all of these tasks generated. Let me click on that. And now is where you get to look at these tasks, see if it makes sense. So improve empty state design and messaging. I feel like overall front end task, like design wise, needs some manual configuration since I'm looking at it, using it, since by just looking at the code, maybe Claude won't have enough context, but it still added a pretty interesting task down here. So fix icon color inconsistency in pros and cons section, which I believe is this right down here. You'll see that it really isn't consistent with the rest of the design of the app, and pretty cool that it identified that. Now, if I want this to run, I can just again click on attempts, hit start. It'll be in progress. And now since Claude Code already helps by instructing exactly where it should alter that, it'll be much faster to fix it. And then eventually that should be done. You can now merge that change or create a PR. If you click to merge, it'll identify that that was concluded. And now if you get out of here, you'll see that the task is already sent to the done phase. On the upper right corner, you can toggle this, click on settings. Here you can configure a bunch of things. So task execution, which agent you want it to use by default, what is the editor you're using. And the thing about the editor is that you can click on it right up here and have your editor open so that you can check anything that you need to. Here's pretty interesting as well. You can configure the MCP servers for specific agents. So Claude Code, you would select this and add your MCPs through this interface. Or if you're going with Codex, this is the structure for Codex. It's just everything in the same place. So if you use different coding agents, this is also a pretty interesting project for you to check out. So yeah, leave a like if this video helped at all. I just really felt like sharing this since it is something that, again, I'll be using it myself, and I hope that it could be useful for you as well. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then.